Joining me now from Southern California, president of Wilsey Asset Management, Brent Wilsey. Brent, it's been a bad week for the mayor of Los Angeles. He's finally being held accountable for all this trash, finally being held accountable for all of the homeless, I think, anyway. And the homeless numbers, by the way, came out this week, shot up, record high number of homeless, probably close to 100,000. They say it's around 60, 65,000. But also this plan to tax Los Angeles residents more in order to pay for the increase in the school board budget, that went down in failure. Maybe some rationality is returning to L.A.
I hope so, Graham, because this is a terrible situation. And again, the school budget is actually bigger than the Los Angeles budget, which I found shocking. But with the homeless problem, the problem is, Graham, you cannot keep throwing more money at the problem and have a solution. It's not going to happen. Yeah. All it does is create the demand for homeless people saying, yes, let's do it. So don't be taxing people more. I mean, I was taught when I was younger, if you teach me to fish today, I'll be back tomorrow. But if you give me a fish, I'll be back again for that fish again. Yeah. They've got to fix this problem. And Graham, we'll talk about this a little bit later, I think, but there's 7 million open positions for workers. We've got to get some of these people trained and get to work. But if you give them something, sure, I'll just come in for a free meal and a free place to stay. It doesn't work. Taxing doesn't work.
Like my buddy says, if it's free, I'll take 3. But, it takes some common sense in this situation. And speaking of common sense, do we put a lot of stock in the jobs report that came out, which was rather disappointing?
It was disappointing, Graham. I think last month we talked about this, saying you can't keep having all these major jobs here. And we had an increase of 75,000 jobs, missed the estimate of 180,000. But I want to point out 90,000 of those jobs were private payroll. The reason why we're 75,000 because 15,000 government jobs, of which about 2/3 were state jobs, were lost. So our private sector is still doing okay at 90,000 jobs. And I think the concern is here, Graham, is business owners may be showing some caution about, well, let me wait just a little bit longer here to see what happens with this trade situation.
And hourly earnings rate is going up, and that's a great sign. And so the Federal Reserve looks at all this and says, well, do we raise rates or not?
Well, that was quite a surprise because at first the market was down saying, oh my gosh, this is terrible jobs report. But now what this has done for us, Graham, if you realize with rates decreasing, the Fed will step in and say, yes, we'll help you out. The 10-year Treasury did drop about 2.06%, which I was kind of surprised on. It's about a 2017 year low. But what it also does, Graham, brings down the dollar, which makes our goods less expensive for the world and their goods more expensive for us. So it could help things out. And that's why things do work things out. I'm not worried about this jobs report at all. Again, a 3.6% unemployment rate. I think the only people trying to make a problem with this, Graham, are the ones that hate the current administration. They'll take any negative sign they can get and say, oh, this is terrible. See, we're going to have a recession. I will point out recession takes 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. Right. We're nowhere near that at all.
And where the jobs are, as you mentioned, they're good jobs. If you kind of parse it out, a lot of white-collar jobs out there. And the areas that are shrinking, the main area is government. And isn't that what our republic is all about? We should have a shrinking government pool, and we should have an expanding private sector. So if you look at the chart, it's exactly where it needs to be right now. Brent, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.